Turning back to the conflict in the Middle East, as Israel attacks in Gaza, or rather Israeli attacks in Gaza, continue, there are new concerns about violence on a different front. Israel says that it is carrying out strikes targeting Hezbollah in Lebanon. It follows the killing of a top senior Hamas leader in Beirut. Our Ian Lee has more on the escalating conflict.
Fears of war on Israel's northern border. The country's top general inspected the front yesterday and said his troops are ready. Israeli forces and Lebanese militants Hezbollah trade fire on a daily basis. Tensions are high after an explosion killed a senior Hamas leader in Beirut on Tuesday. Last night, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah vowed revenge in a possible war with no limits. These threats rattling across the region.
We remain incredibly concerned, as we have been from the outset of this conflict, about the risk of the conflict spreading into other fronts.
The assassination ignited Palestinian protests yesterday. Here in the occupied West Bank city of Ramallah, there's a general strike. Shops are closed. People are outraged over the killings. I asked this man in Arabic what he thinks of the killing. He tells me it was a cowardly attack. Netanyahu has just announced the next stage of the war. The next possible stage of a war instigated by Hamas's brutal attack on October 7th. Nearly 3 months later, much of Gaza is reduced to rubble. Israel continues to expand operations in central and southern Gaza, leaving Palestinians no place to go, nowhere to find safety. The U.S. is working hard to prevent this war behind me in Gaza from spreading. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is once again visiting the region, and this comes as the White House puts more pressure on Israel to increase badly needed humanitarian aid. Anne-Marie?
Speaking of the pressure from the U.S., the Secretary of State Antony Blinken is heading to the region again. You identified sort of the multiple areas of concern. What will be the priority for his trip this time around?
Yeah, Anne-Marie, you could almost think of Secretary Blinken as a firefighter. He's trying to contain the blaze here that is in Gaza, making sure it doesn't spread to Lebanon, to other parts of the region, trying to unite everyone about the efforts to, get humanitarian aid into Gaza, try to keep this region calm while this war goes on. But, another thing we're expecting from the Secretary of State is more pressure on Israel. The United States wants to see Israel scale back the intensity of the war to go to a more surgical operation against Hamas. So far, Israeli officials have pushed back on this. They say they're going to continue this war, continue the intensity until Hamas is destroyed. And another thing we're probably going to be looking for is the day after. That's something that's been very important for the United States to make sure that this doesn't happen again. We do not see a sixth war in Gaza, and so that's going to be a top priority for the Secretary of State as well.
All right, Ian, thank you very much.